Okay guys, this is going to be your daily market recap for March 30th, 2017. I had a bunch of stuff marked up here today. I erased it so we could go through. I did not trade today. It had a lot of wonderful opportunities, but my mind was not in the game. I was thinking about, I've got a lot of other things that I woke up thinking about today, and whenever that happens, that tells me that if I'm trading, that I'm going to really hurt myself because hurt my account, because I won't be paying attention. My mind will be elsewhere, and I know that's not a good time for me to trade. Also, and some of the things that I'm working on, just in case you're curious, I just finished a blog for y'all earlier for Motivated Trader. I have another one that I'm working on for Motivated Trader, and I'm also working on one for Motivated Mama, and also I'm working on creating some videos for y'all that will really break down some of this stuff that I talk about, that I'm going to be adding to a membership area for Motivated Trader. So let's just kind of dive off into this. The first thing you see when the day starts, which was just a few bars before, was right here at 8:30. It does give you a short opportunity. I was not interested in any of the shorts, even when it pulled back right here. Oh, see, force a habit. Even when it pulls back right here, I noticed that it did have a great opportunity for entry, but I was really struggling with what's really going to happen at this point. You have a lot of strength up in the MACDs on the 1597 at that time, coming to an area, and as I had this closed up earlier, you could really see how we're still just making higher lows. It's still pushing to the upside. I also have, just so you know, on my lower time frame, I've drawn a line. That's probably a really, really big line. We're going to take it back here. And I have made that line just a salmon color, so that way we can see what's happening. Because I do have dogs running around and my kids are running around, so who knows what kind of interesting things you're going to hear in the background of this lovely video. So it pulls up to the area, and it does give you the opportunity for a short trade. It's about this time, once it starts making these bars with the equal bottom here and the close at the top, and you've got both the price and the MACDs leading higher at that point. It's time to start saying, well, are we really looking to stay in this trade? It pulls up, it comes back down. By this time, it's time to go ahead and remove yourself from that. It could keep going down from there, but you don't want to be the one to try and test it after it's, in the long run, we're still working our way. It's not a pretty working our way to the upside, but it's still working our way to the upside. So what happens now is I've got this salmon line showing where the highest time frame EMA is at that point. We'll move it along with this. Right now I've got everything quote unquote in order to the downside when it comes to the EMAs, but the price and the MACDs are telling me different. So it's come up higher here at this point. We are still below everything. Look at this major retracement divergence, which means they both come down and lead higher, but the price comes down probably about, what, 85–90% of this original move to the upside, and the MACDs can only come down about 25%. So that tells us that we're really not looking for more to the downside right now. Then things start to shift back to the upside, and by this time I actually had some arrows on my chart in these areas as it was getting back above everything. It's got the MACDs higher, back above the zero line. You're pushing with a ton of strength. Now right here you're going, oh, these MACDs, they don't look pretty, right? Well, they don't need to, because your MACDs on your 1597 were telling you the story the whole time. And also if you're, force a habit, we're gonna use this one. If you are in a trade here at this point, or maybe a little bit higher or something like that, you do have a great spot. And, because I know I've drawn these at the bottom of the bars, I guarantee you if you trade this style that I do, you're not going to get in at the bottom of those bars. You're going to be looking for the signal, which will put you in just a little bit later. But as it continues, you can move that stop once it gives you a floor, move that stop a few ticks below here. I mean, I wouldn't blame anybody if they saw something like this and said, okay, well, I don't want to continue. Some people get a little, I don't want to, what's the word I want to use? When it starts pushing too far, they're like, oh, let me go ahead and get out because it's far that it can pull back. But if you're looking at the MACDs on the 1597 with my ellipse over here, there is so much strength to the upside that it's really hard to deny that this is going to continue up. So what happens is it comes back down, it gives you a reversal bar. Now you finally had a higher, a little bit of a turn at this point. It comes down. If you're still in this trade, you're moving your risk up. And then now is the first real signal that I see that says it's time to get out. And it's the major divergence between the price and the MACDs that's happening right here. Now, we do have, and let's see where this is at that time. We do have everything lining up. You have some strength separating your EMAs. So you have that first divergence. Now, we don't have divergence on our 1597 right now. The 1597 is still leading higher. It just had a little bit harder time creeping up there with the MACDs. So when it pulls down, you have 90 million miles, and I don't need that. It's going to be a habit to get out of that. You have 90 million miles from the zero line at this point. And guys, I do have a lot of lines drawn on my chart during the day. I've been looking at, where pivots are happening. And when that happens, I'm looking at pullbacks to those areas, but I remove them all just to kind of get them out of the way whenever we're talking about it. But so it pulls down, it comes back up. So if you are trading right as it pulls into the EMA, it pulls into the zero line. I know it looks like a ton of strength to the downside, but when you're looking at the bigger picture, that's not a huge amount of strength. It would have run through your 233, but it comes right down to your 610. It gives you a couple of opportunities, even right in here, if you want to wait for the MACDs to push up and then have that slow roll that's leading higher than that last tiny little pivot. And by that time, your MACDs are starting to fly to the upside on the 1597. I actually want to look and see what exact bar this is on the 1597. Oh, nope, it's not starting to fly to the upside just yet on the 1597. So I misspoke just a little bit there. But being above the zero line, seeing this little pivot up with everything showing strength to the upside tells you that this is going to continue. So it does continue up, and at this point right here, now it's starting to show another really big sign of weakness. You do have divergence again on your 610. It's pulled down, it's pulled back up. It's somewhere in this area when the MACDs can't make it all the way back up. You may even wait just a little bit longer, or maybe you're moving your stop along. If you're 2 ticks behind the area right here with that stop, then you're going to get stopped out whenever this pulls back. More than likely, you'll be stopped out whenever that pulls back. But I can guarantee you there were people who were looking for the long trade right in here. By this point, I'm not really interested in the long trades anymore. There is opportunity in it, but to me, you're really starting to have weakness in the MACDs. You had this strong push down and a strong push back up in the 1597, but the MACDs are really not continuing like you would like them to. You've already had a giant move to the upside, so it's okay that this doesn't really continue. If you did decide to take a long trade, either taking your 2 points, moving your risk behind this area when it pops back up. But once it starts to hang out here, you really don't want to be in this anymore. It pulls up, it starts to make lower pivots in both the price and the MACDs. If anything, you've got your last chance right in here, and it just really can't push up anymore. You have a nice reversal bar on the 1597. The price was pushing up. You couldn't get past this area. And this area lined up with an area we had in the, let's see, it's a habit. an area we had in the past, I believe. I had to go way back though to see it, I think. I don't remember. No, that may have just been a new high there. I took all the lines off, so we'll just leave them off. But it's definitely an area that's holding it up because look, it's pushing up into it and it can't push through it at this point. But it gave a good strong move up. And this is actually what happened yesterday morning as well. You know, it pulled down, it pushed back up. It happened back here. It pulled down, gave you the W, pushed back up. So it's really just going past those areas and still continuing to the upside. Then at this point, now you're starting to see some divergence on the 1597. It's pulling up. It's not able to, it's going to take a little bit of time. I'm really sorry, guys. It's not able to equal that previous pivot. You have bars that are really trying to push up. I mean, they're pushing hard to close at the top. These are people throwing a lot of money at it, but it's not pushing through. There's other people that are saying, forget about it, forget about it. So it pushed up, and then the exhaustion happens right here. And I want you to look down at the MACDs whenever that happens. I want you to pay attention, especially to the 1597 MACDs when that's happening. This is your last chance to get out if you're in the long. This is your last chance to save yourself if you don't want to lose on a trade where you took here, or if you just want to keep some profits where you're at. The reversal bar, the close at the bottom, this is all your MACDs could do. It's pushed up with price, it's pushed up with price, it's pushed up, and then a hard close back down, and with your MACDs leading lower. I mean, it's happening more than once. It's happening here, it's happening here. Those closes in that opposite direction whenever there's some weakness is really something that keeps my mind in the right place. Or, you know, the closes are what keeps my mind in the right place. So it pulls down, it comes back up, it gives these closes at the top, exhausts again with the MACDs pushing down pretty hard. It does it one more time, exhausts again with the MACDs pushing down pretty hard. Now, that does give you some opportunities on the 610 to take some trades in between, right? So it pulls back. If you're looking at a magic trade zone, it's definitely right in this area, and I want to keep this up with us just so we can see where it's at. There's still a lot of distance to that 1597, which, as we can see, well, this isn't the 1597, this is the higher time frame. We can see it's been a pretty strong magnet throughout the time recently. So it does keep pulling back to it. When it gets too far, it comes back to it. And so it's gotten pretty far from it, and it's coming back to it at this point. So once it comes back to it, or, you know, while it's on its on its journey back down, we can be looking for, I'm not a huge fan of these. I did see the potential for a short right here. Like I said, I was working on other things. I was just kind of watching it in the background and throwing some arrows up there from time to time, which had I been all in it, I would have probably made some pretty good points today. But it pulls down, it gives you a reversal bar down here at the bottom. So you have the chance to go ahead and exit this trade right about here, maybe up in here. It does give you an area to move your risk, especially since we're so far below everything in this quick, you know, we have a lot of distance to go down to the MACDs on the 0 line. We also have that happening right in here. Once it pulled back at that point, oh, stop it. Once it pulled back, you know, we were having, actually the first pullback is right in here. Then it pulls back one more time, which is at this point right here. It pulls back one more time. That is a really great opportunity to take the short down at least until, you know, you're looking to get to the area of, you know, the area where you might anticipate a bounce. That's what we're looking for, areas to anticipate a bounce, right? So it pulls back, it pushes down really, really hard. You're well below everything on the 1597, and then you see it start to die out here. So you can take an exit, or you can hope that it's going to continue down further. This is a pretty big distance for it to snap back, into that area. And so you may have been looking for more of a short, which I can understand. It has the look of it that there's going to be more of a short. But I look at this and I go, this isn't happening. This isn't going down more. We're still a higher pivot. We've got the price bar that pushed down as hard as it could right here and then closed back up. And that, that was prior, obviously, to seeing this happen, but there's just that guppy belly look. It just really wasn't lining up. Also, something I like to see is the potential for these areas to push through the highest time frame EMA. If I really see at that point that they're going to have a lot better potential of pushing through, but right now it's got a lot of work to do for both the 1597 and the 610 EMA to push through this higher time frame one to really tell us that it's continuing in that direction. So at this point right here, I'm going, okay, this is going up. We're looking for a long trade. Your MACDs are doing nothing but continuing up. All these closes right around the same place, and what's happening? Higher and higher and higher and higher. And so that is a really good indication. Hey, if it gives you the opportunity, look for the pullback. This was the closest opportunity I could see. It hung out here for a little bit, and then it pulls back into the area about right here. I would never have taken this one. I'm working on it a little bit, but it's just really not something I'm super comfortable with. If I was in a trade already, I would definitely be moving my risk up to here. And then it pulls back down. It gives you a nice area to get into the trade. Also at that time, your 1597 MACDs are miles from the zero line, so it's a great place to give it a shot. And it pulls up, and then you start to see a little bit of divergence throughout the MACDs. It's not pushing up with a ton of strength on the 1597, and you start to get a little bit of a ceiling. Also, we are at this area that we have run into prior. Look what's happening to the MACDs last time we were at that area. They're leading lower. So I'm not anticipating this to really continue at this point. It doesn't mean that it's turning everything around, especially with the 1597 EMA still continuing to the upside, and now all three of these EMAs are in line. They're in tune. So once it pulls up to that area and it gives you that pretty strong push to the downside like it does here, I don't think that most people, at least myself, would have, you see that hard close and this is all it can do and then it starts pushing down. Yes, somewhere right in here, or as soon as you get that next signal that, hey, this is not going up any further right now. Then it gives you a little bit of that magic trade zone, or magic zone trade. It's really weak. It's really weak in the EMAs, although you've got a lot of strength in the MACDs to the downside. So what it's starting to show me at this point is that it's starting to have some areas that we may be bouncing between, creating a wedge. With, couldn't exceed that high, and now you've got a higher low. So then it pulls back up, lower high, higher low, lower high, and you're getting to the end of the day by that time. So there's really not much. I mean, yeah, if you were pretty quick at catching these and watching the fact that, yes, the MACDs are still leading down further at this point, then you can take that, be very aware and very cautious. Most people are, especially when you're first starting out, aren't present enough to be able to look for that type of thing, to see the divergence and taking the exit and then trade from area to area, because that's the only way to properly trade that kind of thing, is from area to area. And if you're just starting out and you're looking at this, there are no areas really for you except for this area up here. So that covers today's market. So if you guys want to leave me a comment or definitely subscribe to the channel, that would be great. Y'all can check out my blog posts. I have one coming out tomorrow for Motivated Mama, and I have a couple for Motivated Trader. Those are under motivatedmama.club. So y'all can check that out. Thanks.